So there's a lot of hype around UFC 279, but there seems to be more focus on the politics of the actual fights than the fights themselves. But we are here today to talk about the fights first. So, Mark, with Nate Diaz versus Khamzat Chimaev, do you think Nate Diaz has any chance at all of beating Khamzat?
In a word, no. To be quite honest with you, I can
I'll just
literally
play the
imagine.
outro now.
That's it. Video over. I could literally see it now in the actual in cage. I could see Khamzat picking Diaz up, walking over to Dana and saying, "Where do you want him, boss?" And then pummel his face until he is no more. What about you?
I actually think the complete opposite. I think if Khamzat comes out the way he fought against Gilbert Burns, he'll lose this fight. And I'm being deadly serious. I know a lot of people are really sort of knocking Diaz on the head here and thinking he doesn't have a chance, but this is a 5-round fight. And if he comes out, try to pump that left and try and catch Diaz as he's circling around and just try and do that, it's not going to happen because Diaz is not going to fall for that left feint that Khamzat throws out consistently. I think the way Khamzat gets a win here, though, is through doctor's stoppage. I think if he takes him down and he just lays elbows into him and busts him open, the doctor will stop it. But it all depends on who the doctor is. Because some of them might just go, "Oh, I know you bleed loads, let's not worry about it." Whereas others are like, "No, this is not happening. Let's take this off."
Well, that's where you need Dr. Harold Shipman in there just to let the thing go.
So you just see Khamzat taking him down and just submitting him, pummeling?
No, I see just battering in his face. Maybe even a doctor stoppage, like you said. Nate has said before that, if someone sneezes on him, he bleeds. I honestly think that Khamzat is just going to be jabbing him, just coming in with power shots as well. I think he could even it could be a potential Masvidal Diaz situation where because Khamzat, he walks around like a light heavyweight. He's so strong. It's ridiculous.
He's so big as well.
I think the only sort of coping mechanism that Diaz could see in this is because it is a 5-round fight, like you say. If Khamzat maybe dominates the feud and he gets a bit of a gas tank, because Diaz is known for his cardio, and then he sits and sticks away at a jab for the next 3 rounds or something. That's the only path to victory I could see personally for Diaz.
Yeah, definitely. It is a difficult one because, what do you think about that? Diaz has 3 times as many fights as Khamzat. He literally has 3 times as many. He's got a lot more experience. And when Khamzat fought Gilbert Burns, he came in all honesty, without a game plan. He seemed to be really struggling to figure out what to do next. And he seemed exhausted. And if he does that and he gets to these later rounds, I think Nate can cause him some real problems. Because Nate, he's got some fantastic jiu-jitsu. It is fantastic. So if Khamzat does get him down, which he probably will because he is massive, if he does get him down, he might be deterred by that submission threat, like the Kimura lock trap and things like that. Because when Khamzat was talking about fighting Burns, he said, "Oh, I stopped taking him down because, he was going for the submission," and he just said, "Oh no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to." And if he's worried about that happening, maybe he's not going to do the same with Nate. Maybe he's going to be a standing fight. And if Diaz just peppers away at him and waits for him to come down and catch him and just grabs him in a guillotine or something like that, it could be over. I think there is more paths to victory for Nate than we're actually giving him credit for. Or do you think I'm just I'm just dreaming here?
In a word again, yes. I honestly, I might end up eating my words like I usually do every predictions that we do. But I honestly think that Nate Diaz doesn't really have much of an answer because Khamzat is young, he's hungry to get his career kick-started, he's going to be wanting the belt soon. Diaz is really wanting out of his contract. This is his last one, which actually, Dwayne, leads me into I'm still not convinced this fight's going to happen. Even when the cage is locked, I don't think it could really happen. It wouldn't surprise me. Nate Diaz, as soon as they've been introduced, if Nate Diaz jumps down and taps out straight away, gives the fingers to the crowd and to Dana, maybe we even get a Stone Cold Stunner. and then just drinks beer on the cage and leaves like John Wayne in the movies. That's I'm convinced.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly can happen. That's the thing with this fight. I'm 100% not convinced this fight's going to happen until that cage door's closed. Because one, Khamzat needs to make weight first. You know, he does struggle to get down to this weight. You know, he's done the old towel trick before, and it's a really, really difficult weight cut for him. So, you know, let's see if that happens. But first, but while we're already on the topic, what do you think about the politics surrounding all of this? And everyone seems to be saying that, Dana's kind of setting up Nate to fail here just as he's leaving and ending his contract? Or do you think it's just people are overthinking that and sort of projecting what they want onto Dana?
To be honest, you could see both sides though, couldn't you? If you was like just a complete, you know, in the center, and you could see where both sides are coming from, like, because you can imagine Diaz to be hard work to deal with. Maybe not in his younger days, but now, you know, he seems to want all the big fights and calling for title shots when he just gets battered. You know what I mean? He's won one fight in 5 years, and that was against Anthony Pettis and older Anthony Pettis. And you're like, yeah, come on. Why? To be honest, me personally, I'm not sure why he's main eventing. To be honest with you, Khamzat I could see because of the star power, but I don't see the huge hype in Nate, to be honest with you. But I get what you mean there, like, as in, because look, he is a seasoned veteran. He's still a big name. You know, I'm just contradicting myself there. But me personally, as a fight fan, I don't really see the big hype of him. But it's a stepping stone for both of them. Imagine if Nate does pull it off, and then that's his last fight in the UFC, and he just walks out, Dana, I just beat your star boy, and then I'm going out. What do you think about it?
It really could happen though as well. That's the thing. We have had a crazy year this year. Nate getting some last round knockout or trapping him in a Kimura or something can happen. We can have some crazy finish, and honestly, it'd be so exciting because that gives Nate so much power if he does want to re-sign with the UFC. I've just beat your boy. I want a title shot. Give me a title shot. I'll come back. I want $1 million a fight. He probably gets about that anyway, Nate, to be honest. He's probably on a decent contract. You know, give me loads of money. I'll fight Leon Edwards or I'll fight Usman. You think, it puts him in such a good position. But sort of talking about sort of all this politics and stuff and these older fighters kind of going out on their shields, that leads us to Tony Ferguson versus Li Jingliang, which I think is a ridiculous fight. I do not know why Tony Ferguson is taking a bout at welterweight. I understand maybe it's difficult for him to cut down to lightweight now because he's quite a bit older, but he's not that big. He's not got that big a frame. And I just don't see much chance of victory here for Tony Ferguson. What do you think? Do you think that Tony has much of a chance in this fight?
I'm with you there. I don't get the logic behind this. Like, why would it? I mean, because Gaethje battered Ferguson, Oliveira battered Ferguson, Dariush battered him, Michael Chandler, we all know what happened there. And then you've taken a fight in a weight class above you, like against the Leech. You know, he's a knockout artist. He's definitely got power as well. Yeah. And obviously Tony Ferguson's typically known for his chin as well. He can take a beating. But in the sense of, I was thinking about it, and I know he's on a losing streak, but I wouldn't write him off still. He's still Tony Ferguson. Like, he can still, you know, create problems, and he's that unpredictable in his fighting style. You know, like, who else would throw sand at someone else when you're 4 rounds down in a fight and your face is battered? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's an offensive strike. I'm just saying that, like, you know, it's just it's not Prince of Persia, but it's so unorthodox, isn't it? And it's just crazy. And I don't like that. Could be a real problem. You know, like, look at Michael Pereira. Do you remember it? He just was there backflipping and stuff like that. You know, it really does throw people off. But I think the Leech is probably just a bit too much for him. Wouldn't surprise me if this actually goes to decision for Leech, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because it is just 3 rounds, isn't it? And that's the thing. But, you know, Lee does have some incredible knockout power. Like, look at his fight with Muslim Salakhov. He battered him. He dropped him like a sack of potatoes. I was shocked how powerful he was. I think a lot of people have gone in seeing Lee and going, oh, well, he got dominated by Khamzat, so that's it. He's done for. But, would that happen again? I think when you make these big mistakes like that, you think, right, I need to really, really focus on this. But, obviously this isn't about Khamzat versus Lee rematch. That'll probably never happen. But I feel as though Lee is just going to punish Tony as much as possible. But you're right, that sort of unorthodox style that Tony offers, can Lee counter that? Is it going to be a bit too much for him? Is it all going to be a bit too weird? But I think the card's kind of weird overall, isn't it? This is really a 2-fight pay-per-view, in all honesty. We've got Kevin Holland and Johnny Walker on there and things like that, but it's a very weird pay-per-view overall. Like you're saying, why is Diaz main eventing this? I'm just looking forward to the press conference. I think it's going to be mental. You've got Li Jingliang, can't speak English. Tony Ferguson, he
Can't speak English.
Yeah. Nate Diaz, can't speak English.
No.
Khamzat Chimaev, can't speak it. You've got 4 blokes who are just going to mumble and mutter the way through. Well, maybe not Lee, obviously. He's got his translator. I think it's a bit mean to Lee, but it's going to be a very weird one.
It's just gonna be the least hyped press conference that I think you've ever seen, hasn't it? It's going to be like similar to, you remember when Jose Aldo used to just sit there, just looking around, sort of thing. There's going to be Khamzat on his phone. Diaz just sat like looking around with his hat on over his eyes, looking like dappy. And you just kind of like, people asking about Khamzat, and he's just, "You tough guy, brother, but I smash everything." And you can literally see reporters going like this. Like, what's he on about? But it's going to be the least hyped press conference ever, isn't it? We've had some good ones, we've had some bad ones. It's just the big mix.
Yeah, definitely. I think though a lot of people are excited for these guys, though. Some people love that kind of stuff, don't they? But it's not quite for me. But overall, I'm excited to see what can happen in this fight. I think that main event, it's the what if, isn't it? That's what's keeping this pay-per-view alive. But I do think that's all we've got time for. Thank you for watching. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really does help us out.